Did you have like a hardworking father? Like, what in general, like what did your family do? Do you think you got that kind of tenacity from somewhere in your family?
Um, well, I think no, I think it was really purely passion. My parents were going through a divorce. My dad was like, we went through the whole thing of like, will you live with your dad or your mom? And that's it. You know, it was kind of tough. I have three
Right.
sisters, and all of my sisters chose to live with my mom, and I was like, felt sorry for him, so I stayed with him. But he would he would support my love of music. He would actually sometimes give me like $20 and say, all right, if you want to go buy a vinyl, like here's $20. But he wouldn't do that all the time. It was just like he always saw it as like I didn't let him know that all I ever wanted to do and all I was going to do is music.
Right.
But I let him know enough that I'm so passionate about it that like for him giving his son $20 to buy a record, like when I say a record, I mean like now we just can get them for free. But to go to the shop and I would have to actually listen to hundreds of songs to find the one that I could afford,
Right.
and the one best track and add that to my collection. Yeah, so he supported me in that way. But what was really crazy, and again, I don't know if I'm talking too much here, but
Not at all, brother. Take your time.
what was really crazy was he never, I don't think he really thought there was money to be made in being a DJ, because you have to imagine for parents, especially back then, now DJing is like, you know, well known, but back then, especially in Australia, my dad looked at it probably like a wedding DJ, like, or, you know, like didn't think that it was like something that could be a real business.
Right. And obviously a parent's going to be thinking about like, oh, I want my child to at least be able to support themselves.
Yes.
Right.
So he was doing everything he could to like do that. But I'll tell you a cool story. So my dad really kind of said, you know, this can't be a full-time job. It just won't work that way. But years later, he moved to Thailand and lives in Koh Samui.
Okay.
And I had a show to 40,000 people on the beach in Thailand, and I didn't tell him that it was New Year's Eve, and I didn't tell him that I would be playing to 40,000 people on the beach. And where the DJ stage was set up was out on a barge, like I don't know what you like floating big thing outside, like past the wave break.
Right.
And so at this point in my career, I'd already been flying around the world playing shows, but he didn't know that, like, or really understood it until I went, oh, I'm playing in Thailand. I'm going to bring my dad to this. But I did it in a really cool way. I said, hey, Dad, I haven't seen you in forever, and I'd love to like catch up. And so I had him picked up by a driver and he had no idea where he was going. Then the driver pulls up at the beach, and I'm like, hey, Dad, like, you know, so good to see you. I love you. And he's like, what's going on? Like, we having a party for New Year's Eve? And I'm like, yeah, get in the boat. He gets in a speedboat where he nearly fell out of. So we had to like, because we had to like get into this boat. Then the speedboat rips across the waves, takes us out to a barge about 40 minutes before my set time. We get off the boat, onto the barge. I hand him his favorite whiskey. Dad loves whiskey. I hand him a bowl of whiskey, and he's like, oh, what's this for? And I said, it's yours. And then I looked at my clock, and he's just still kind of trying to work out why he's out on this barge, and there's crowds of people on the beach. And then I went, okay, I'm up. Come with me. And I brought my dad right onto the stage with me.
Oh, man.
He cracks open the whiskey. I get on the mic. And I was like, how you doing, Thailand? I think he was in Phuket. No, and I went, yes, I might be not remembering every detail.
Right.
But I was like, how you doing? The crowd goes nuts. He's seeing thousands of people on the beach going crazy. And I went, this is my job. And Dad just looked at me, and we had that son-father moment. And he looked at me and he goes, I'm proud of you.
Oh, man.
It was wild, right?
Dude. That's one of those stories that you think about like in the course of your lifetime. You're like, that's just one of those moments in life where you're just like, I did it. You know what I mean? I really did what I said I was going to do.
Yeah,
That's like, I'm sure all of the painstaking work, because obviously not everything you've done in your career has been easy or fun for you, I'm sure.
No, it's often, like I said earlier, like it's still to this day, you get 99 no's and one yes, but you just chase those yeses.
Yeah.
So it's never been super easy, but that was one of those moments where it was definitely like, he got to see it was a real job at that point. He was like, I think it just all connected in like one single moment. He got to see thousands of people yelling and me playing electronic music and him coming on a boat to get there. That was a pretty cool, like, told you so moment. Like,
I love that. I love that. So you did some work for Disney too. Now, was that before, was Disney before or after this event?
Oh, way later.
Way later. Okay.
Yeah.
And so I feel like nowadays it's a little bit more common for DJs or people that are in the music industry in general to be looking to kind of do some film work or try to do some work here or there, because I hear there's a lot of money in that kind of thing. So a lot of artists who are trying to, you know, make a living from doing music find an opportunity in doing so within television or within movies or anything like that.
Yeah.
So were you recruited to do that type of thing? Did you go out of your way to try to find that type of a job or that kind of work? How did that work for you?
Yeah, so it's another, I feel like I'm going to be filled with long stories here.
I love long stories, man. Be my guest.
So when I finished high school, another story with my dad included, he said, you have to get a degree. And I was like, I had to pay for it and do all of that. But he said, like, I guess I was always looking up to like make my parents proud in a way.
Right.
And he said, I have to get a degree. And I didn't, he said, I have to get a degree. I thought, no, I don't want to, because I'm already, by that stage, I was already touring the world playing music. Yeah. So by that stage, like after high school, when I was told I had to get a degree, you have to fill out this form. I don't know if it's the same in America, but you fill out a form of all the universities that you want to get into. And I only wrote down one. And I thought, there's no way I'm going to get into this. But if I do, on the off chance get into it, it's got to be something I want to do. So instead of choosing like medicine or like, you know, I was into physics. I nailed physics, I nailed chemistry, I nailed like all of that stuff in school. But I only wrote down one college that I wanted to get into, and that was the Conservatorium of Music, where you basically study musical theory and all of that. So I wrote that down, didn't expect to get it, and sure enough, we get the letter. Out of 3,000 applicants, I got in. So there I was. So I studied 4 years of classical training, musical theory, but as well as like sound design, music. It's a Bachelor of Music Technology.